Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, it's gonna get brighter. Ooh, child. Well, why am I feeling exhausted? Because explaining EXPLAIN, it's not an easy job when my mind works this way, this way, this way, instead of pelting, instead of this way here. And once we get certain things out, does it get better? Absolutely not, because the challenge is, are we a settled people? No. Are we in troubled times? Absolutely. A lot of times, biblically speaking, there's what you call the 666, and not the route 66. Yes, see. Basically speaking, it's a route that does this here, and this here instead of things of these. So things of these would relate to things that are this, really smiting this part, and could have really shown a side of her that is extremely this, and cannot handle that day or that hour or that minuit, minuit. So it would say, get this up based on that biblical sense, and this Route 66 will take you on this journey. Could even have that type of things of this instead of this here, based on this part here, and say it becomes this with these eyes this way, sourcil this way, and then here this way. So it would say this, and then a little bit of this and this, and would say that it seeks. Okay? So it would say that root is what can cause the explain to become extremely rare if this is what non-seekers not. So I would get in here this way, and remember that this what I speak not only copyright has copyright privileges, yes, no, it's copyright protected, and copyright protected this way. We don't talk about those contingency plannings. Just say that these things are protected, and let those type of minds take care of their own stuff. Now, do I consider myself to be American? No, based on pinky, based on this one word. And why? Because there's a lot of little ones wanting to be Phoebe XXXX. Okay, so it would say when you're seeking to be X, when you're XXX, so you would say this way, but it would say that it seeks that rouge when that's the case. It's a constant conflict this way, and that's why it's Route 66. So you have to be of, do you belong here? Notula says that when you don't like it, what do? Do you increase with the Negroes? I don't think so. Do you increase with the those type of rednecks? I don't think so. Do you increase with Hispanics or nations of people that are this? I don't think so. So you kind of say that I have lived here too long. Not, I'm always been more out than in. Privileges, no. I am just a yes, and that qualifies me for all passports. I have a dynasty. and the dynasty gets all. Okay? Now, you cannot seek to be the child, but the aspect of the A gives you a cheat. Is that cheat to grow? No. It was a way of saying classify that information. Why? Because the Negroes that came to America, they kind of fall under a category of classified. And the classified says they wanted to seek to open, and the open says that you were slaves. So when you're a slave, it's a no more, no more. And then when you seek to override these things, it becomes cheat of a Negro of another nation of people and seeks this upon your life and hates the child. So the child's name is Phoebe. You hate. Just Phoebe. And she's very proud. And very proud of this type of classification and very proud of just being anal. I guess a lot of the complaint says that I don't like her because she's anal to change those ways. When you change it, she becomes a whore. A whore means you're constantly pushing her to a limit of a rouge and cannot go any further. I don't want a man. I don't want a man, okay? Because the mind tells me no. So when you're trying to rape a person, the person says no, the mind says no. When you're seeking to kind of embobinate that person to want to date them for a yes, it becomes a big problem with classified. Copyright. Get away. There was an Asian that a black boy dealt with. And no, she cannot date you. It's copy right. And that Asian seeks to persuade that person in justice, and that person will probably manifest itself to the child one day. So it will not seek those things. Yes, no, you are evil. Just considers yourself to be. Now, back to explain, when these things become, you have to kind of know that they seek to become. So you just have to do this part in case it does. And then once you capture that part, then she does it this way. So it would say, I seek not the things of projector, because that's what I spend my life in the United States doing. Getting a projector, taking it back. Getting a TV, putting it back. Getting it, putting into U-Haul. Getting it, putting into impriments. These are the things that the ears keep hearing. Is it considered bad? I don't think so based on this before. But it would tell that the knock. And if this is what you dragged yourself into with somebody else, how do you deal with it? Do you seek the Negro to do so? So if you feel the pushing go far, wrong, thick, I'm not getting to the right person, it seems, then that would say that that person seeks. How do you find somebody who has a tick, a dangerous tick, this way to get to somebody else? Do you want to sit with them in class or wherever, or cross them in the ascensor? Now, that source which says, I know, I've captured that person, but that person seeks not. So it would say, these are the foolishness of America. Want slavery not. They want to be at peace with themselves. Why aren't you seeking a psychologist for that? Isn't that what you did to the child? Isn't that what you put her into the mental institution for? Isn't that what you seek a governor's drive for? At what cost? The needle, this is underestimated of that needle. Isn't that what you seek behavioral therapy and see her enjoying it until, okay, not that there, but that, is it understandable, or does it become left to right to deal with the unforbidden fruits? So it would say, these are not things to pleasant with. You are educated in a way that is just So if you cannot, then the United States sometimes we get a chop this way, and they suspect that it is. And when it is, it seeks it not this way. And the chop says, stay here not. It says, you will not be accountable because of the push. But it would say, do you seek the descendants this way? And that's problems. The problems is of such that the UAH murder crime has to be reinvestigated. The shooting of Bob Jones has to be reinstated. So Negroes who are seeking those things that are just not, you will be fouetted. Now, when you're understanding these things and you don't want to, you get a little jittery, not so you will be straight when she's done with you and not bending. So you will say your country will become a fool for seeking a ex-con to come and explain these things to you. Now, if you go far, then you're seeking, I want exposure. How are you going to expose an A? By putting her into a mental institution. So you go far. How are you going to seek to throw this here out somebody else's window? How are you going to explain chopping with an axe somebody else's door to throw yourself through a window? Is that logical, or is it me who is going mental again? Now, if you're seeking this is what comes upon you. It is the work of Phoebe. Do you understand this name, Phoebe? I think you do now. Now, when it's Phoebe, I speak and you run. Do not listen to her words. Her words are of her. If you don't like it, she has a plane ticket. And she's saying bye-bye, not to her cubs. Now, if you're seeking this classified information to go to the jail, then you are seeking shares. Now, you are idiots, you're fools, you're whores. You're hated by the child. Her name is Phoebe, because you are fools. So when you get it, if it's to make you proud of your country, then go do it. Don't let somebody blow wind this way to get you. Now, if you're saying, I don't want to be chosen to be protective of the child, well, the child says, I don't like you, with a nasty, ugly face. So how much more does the child have to be to get you to hate her? So you would say, I want her to be a beggar. She begged. I want her to be, to go and fuck. She had 25 plus years of fucks. I want her to hate Phoebe. I love Phoebe to vain. And then you will seek this, and this to give back to that daddy. I love my daddy for leaving me because of you not. I love him because he's a pro. Now, fuck you all. Now, when we're talking about explain means what I have said, the words that I've used before are very this part of my dad. Meaning that just consider this not. I don't consider this to be our dad. I consider him to be this part of it. Very unusual, not. I just consider it to be this way and forever. Okay? Now, once we get that part, it seems like people wants to own the child based on this type of situation. No, she is divorced and she has a new beginning. It has to be this way and nothing else, meaning that it's new, and it will tell the past to stay past. Okay? Belle histoire, I would say no, because you are just say whoever's the past is just after this, and I could not be after even this amount. Living in a something of this, even not something of this, quite check applicable. So it would say, I would have people always seeking me this way. So this way says, in all my sanity, I'll be F. And that's it. Now, when you're seeking it this way, then you're seeking this again. So I have to say, fuck you again. So, and you will learn to do so when I'm done with this demo. Now, it would say, explain would say, why are we dealing with explain not? I would say, based on this not, based on my hearings, my hearing says I touched the bar. It was all yay, and you make it into yay, nay. And once you did that, you have forfeited everything of the child's hearing, and she only hears. So if this is what man seeketh, it's a no. You will not make it. You have decided to be a pain in the jackass, so you will not hear it. Now, explaining would say, just say, this would say, I have two, because there's a limit of countries, 2 passports. And the passports plus the papers that you guys stole in Paris and used Leon, sending a bunch of crooks with leaves and showing fucking scenarios in that kind of 3D. This would be her 3D. So when it's her 3D, it comes this way in her, and no devil in hell can stop it. So it means 2 passport and her papers are intact, but just say she had to be able to get to this knot. She had to be able to get to this knot. She had to tell you off. Basically speaking, you have to know that you have become poor. This US of A. You have not even been the power. It was a lie, an illusion. And your Negroes didn't make you did it, but brings in the Negroes with more POV. That's what you did. So when they're trying to tell other people that you have to understand it not, you have to say you have to be of smile to be at this here. You have to be, you are constantly seeking to come and deal with this here has to be dealt with. So you have been struck hard and you have been deprived of even this part. So those will be contacted who seeks to be around the child, including whites. But just say that when you are privileged, you don't want to be anymore. So you will be docked, you suspect, just the white ones, and be put in certain Cubans of this land of Florida to fuck you this way first. Now, once I get to this part to be explained, that it would say that there are certain demands of these type of Negroes, of these type of passports and papers, flew to Bordeaux, was it Bordeaux? Yes, Bordeaux, encounter issues with something as normal as getting money to get to another destination, and seeing the money on the account, just couldn't get it. Was just able to get that amount of money to get to that destination and get stuck there, had to seek help this way. So this way, when it gets help, does it demands outside? So when I get outside, do I get help? I do not get help based on these type of things. I get help. Doesn't understand and is under a descent knot. The descent was with, this is how she is. So it demands it this way, not, it would say, it just does it this way after, and then you get an image of this, the dress that was kind of 3D'd, and you try to defy it. Those says we don't marry to create conflicts. We marry for this and this here. So if you don't like it, then help says I will not give it to her and will not be able to see her petite fille. So when it's not allowed to be, then what the girl does is get vindictive. Why? Because these are a passage in her life that is so sure that man seeks to see how God works. So God decides that I am vindictive, O see, and I will not let it be. So it would say that you are seeking a semi-peace, and a semi-peace would be just passports. And this part will say, I cannot compromise those things. Now, when you're seeking this type, do you have to? Well, go to this type of heritage hospital where I was born. Okay, it's just say 5 minutes from my granny's house. Okay, that's where she was born. This little chubby little shit piece here. And when she was born here, she bored? No, she was not bored. She was ready to shoot life this way. Okay, and then these type of paperwork seeks to be presented to her ASAP, and that's why she doesn't tolerate those things. Now, where her granny is buried this way, she sat here, parapluie. This was the parapluie she used. Very hot, hot, hot. And she sat here, this little girl, and fantasized about this lady who raised her. Regrets ever coming this way to the USA to see these cunts of a Negro and their faces and the noses of the white man. Now, it would say this here, could you illegally do so? I do not entertain those things. Now, when I spent, I don't know, 2 hours there were clouds of all our issues of today. Do God know it? See. But he sees the fucked upness of this nation and the nation of France. See. Now, when you are seeking who this belongs to, and her name is Phoebe, what do? Do you give it to her? No, you lock it up in a cough. So the cough says she puts it in the grandmother's tomb. And then she smiles at her this way. Now, she obviously will not be able to speak to the child. Why? I did speak of a tomb. And this part says, is it a mental issue to be here? And it says this is what you're seeking. And when you're seeking this, to avoid this, then she gets this, these are her, this part here, this is her demonstration, meaning that when she does, she has a demonstration. She has 2 of them here, of which has, just say what she would have in there is this part of herself. And that part of herself has copyrights. Now, it would say that once this is, I don't know what this is because I'm talking about explain. Once this is there accounted for, then I would go to things of, now, I wouldn't go back on this part because the process does take money and it does take this way, and it does take jails. It does. So you guys like to talk in terms of jails, so I seem to entertain it. Why? Because if you're going to take these and give it to somebody who is of a man slave, then it becomes jail. So I think they understand that part. So you would do this here, which I do not entertain. Anytime somebody brings that to this part of how we are dealing with this, and this here, we're talking about jail. Simple as that part. Now, once we get to this part here, then we get to what you call this part, and that part becomes the bit of the mental hospital. Now, are we having a lot of Negroes of which have to have pints and pints of injections and are telling them they cannot take it when it was told a simple word takes care of that part? And the bit would be mental hospital. So your hospital, is it doing this and had to be removed this way? Why would it do this? Is it because you have too many French here and you want to keep it because French are very hype on this astrology? Okay, and seeks to gnaw them this way by removing husbands first, a daughter, a son, a child, and then just leave the white race in evil. So it's called jail. Why? Evidence of copyright serves those things. So if Negroes, for example, have copyrights, do you have jail terms against white supremacy? And white supremacy says, well, perhaps they do. Let them, I'm ready to serve. So these are the things you guys run from, not wanting to put those white supremacy in this. You want this, but they're called for jail. Why? Because jail says, I stole her papers to come to the US to speak this way, not knowing that she's a deep person when those things were spoken from the time this was created. Now, if you are going to say, I'm wanting, I don't care. That is your business now. So once you get it, then the authorities are upon you guys to take care of it because the girl went mental. We're trying to talk to her about not took some. I registered this way, and this way would say that it does it this or this, whatever you want to put it, it comes out to the same dilemma. Okay, now once we get to the boot, get rid of your mental hospital this way, meaning that mental hospitals are things that are this way, meaning that you cannot function with scotches, or if it's if the child got this here, then you cannot even exit to another country, and you cannot have Harleys. Yes, you can have Harleys, but oftentimes you're taking the Harley to a troubled time, and these type of people get override because they damage their Harleys. And when you see a Negro type of a man in a Harley, prohibited, interdit. So you have to be able to say that Negro is this way, see, and have to be able to get these people's Harleys back. So what will happen to the mental hospital? It goes down. Down means extinct. Why? You guys have schools of which you're training those little ones to beg. Beg means no job, just beg mom, dad, half, or steal a crotch, or go to somebody's private, or even the buttocks. So you have to be able to say, is this a functioning nation? If this is how you like your nations, then I guess they're going to take every étranger, stranger that is in the land, and divide them not, take them back to the origins. And the origins, when it goes, if it goes to Odyssey, then these two passports says these three here will not use it this way, which is this, the Scotch way, and that's a Scotch. Now, what else is a Scotch? A scotch could be something of this nature and have it this way. So if you guys get caught, then you're this is a nullity. It's copyrights means that it's a jail for copy. Now copy says this there's an alarm. Did you use the alarm? And that's all. Now you will figure that out by this papers. Now this bit continue now. So your mental hospitals now when you have things like Crest, is that a mental hospital? No. It's a place of terror. Yes. Do you have a suivi? No. It tells no. There, yes. Home. Okay. Now, when it comes to these shelters, no. These eat pantries, no. Where do you eat? No. Okie doke. Now, as we, the boot. Now, once you get the boot, get rid of Americans and they're eager to see who else in America besides the Negro and these type of people. That's a copyright. So it would say who are there? USA. That's all, including every race that of USA. Okay? So I don't like you. I don't. I hate you. Do you understand? Now, the bit for this type of explain says that it's this for, and she gets a this here, and that amount puts her this way. Nobody cares this way, this way. So what I have to do is go home. Where is home? Where was I born? Do I take my explain with me? Yes. What do I do with my cups? They follow me home. Okay, once we get the beat clear, we can get to explain. Now, the tent, just say the tent, what I have to do is be. When I got home the last time, when I got there, my bank account was this here, this way. So when I get back this time, I was here since oot. Since oot, I was here and had to be on the outside based on this knot, based on this knot, based on this is why. Why? Because of this part here. This is why I was outside, because it needed this knot, it needed this accent. And the accent would be this here. Where is this of this here? And where is it this way, and not with a privacy of a woman in the Suriname with lips this way? Now, does it concern what I spoke of in time? The beat is really time. When it comes, it's time. When it stretches his hands to me, I was still in the yes knot. I was still in this mode. This mode that keeps sending me on this spiral this way. Now, you don't speak about that. Time says, do not leave or forsake her, period. Is there a period this way? Correct. The period says, I don't want it anymore. So home is Paris. And that's all. Now, when it comes to time with the B, it demands this, and of course, this gets her to that destination. Now, when it gets to that destination, do you say, is it she? You will get the worst fucked up situation of your lifetime. So, do I need to know this as a person? No. How did it come out? The N demands of the child. How did we know it demands? Well, she spoke. And she spoke of things of these very this way until she runs. And once she gets to this part, she spoke of accent with a yes with this and a beat of 1, 2, 3 plus this type of destination with this home as the origin. Okay, once this has been acquired, I have to say, if I have to leave without this beat of this with my accents, so the accents would say it sends me with this type of dollar, it sends me on a descent because I always have to have this amount here for this here. So when it is, I would say the call would say there's a problem with the N mom based on a belly button who wants to seek N's future. So that what it would do is, did I attend this? Yes. Don't kill that person yet. They still hungry belly for the child. Why are you hungry belly for the child? And it would say, I don't know, the person probably wants to marry a Pedro. I see billions of Pedros in the California regions. So the person would seek a beat and get snared this way. You don't like it? Go to hell. You're too hungry belly. Now, once we get to this here, we would say origin has to be GUY plus, and that's it. Now, this part, you don't say hold, it travels. And this is the amount of time it travels. This is the amount of time the X travel. This is the amount of time this travels. It's travel to get to the child if you want to and carry her up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. She has to declare and see. Now, once we get here, I don't want to hear about passports. Now, this here seeks it this way, not. It seeks it the same way, meaning that we spoke about time. Time says I only do it this way to some copyright thief. You just say copyright thief, and copyright thief gets a massive descent in this amount of time and has no regards for this of who you are. So it once you get that part, then you seek friendships and it's a no. Okay? Now, je peux dire que this is how the biological trains this mom with her absence. This is, you are talking about a massive amount of these things that are flowing in the veins of this child. All this, you can say big one. So once we get to this part here, these are just explanations. When I get to this type of destination, this part reveals these things, but this type for the destination, could it be this? Do I need this? No. This type of destination, would it be this? C. This type of destination is C. And when I get here, only then does it X stroll or the near Phoebe. So here, when we get here, we'll see what that is. Now, once we get to this part here, does it seek a place in all this? Well, this is the kind of a place that I should have seeked a tent, and oftentimes the tent would be this. Some may say, but it would be A, and when it's A, it stays in a hotel and has to be able to pay $500 weekly. Okay, and this is not within my budget reach. Say I get this amount and I divide this by how many weeks? It's 4 weeks in a month. 4 3 is 12, 4 3 is 12, and one. So okay, if I did it by 7, so it would be, if I'm getting this amount, then I'm missing 200. Okay, so this 100 I could be missing instead of just the 2. So if the family understands that, then they know she got a yes for this extraordinary they already got. So they would says, we need just the explanation. Was it necessary for this part to be? And this part would be in this amount for not to be revealed. So once you're getting this amount to reveal, would somebody want to reveal it? They suspect the white man does, based on the ascensions of certain Negroes in the land of America. Why would her land? Because of this part here. This part would be, I think it's this part would be this part of the child. Okay, this, you would actually call it, I probably would have this next pixel study here, and when she does this pixel study, this is where this type of A. So it would say, let's get rid of this part here, basically speaking. And once we get this part, let's get rid of this part here. Okay, and just say this hotel is very important. Do I have the assurance of this with time? No. With Guyana? Yes. Okay, so that puts the family in a very questionable position. Can we help with this amount to stay about 5+ months? Yes, you can, but I don't like that part at all, because I don't want to feel this upon this. And that's what the problem is. It feels it upon it, and have pixel studies to do with it in this type of extraordinary destination. Now, if it's done with this amount of months, then it's a no. If it's done with the help, it could be a yes. With it sharing, it's a no based on this country. And once they get this country, they say, well, was it worth it being born there based on this bit? Yes. And then they would say, well, why, Mom? And I would say, because of this type of this here, based on these type of studies here. Now, do you call it this? Yes, but you would say, well, was it worth it to have it this way? No, it goes to the garbage. And when it goes to the garbage, it's dark, pitch black, and it would take place in this chopping of America. Based on what we're seeing outside, we're noticing that the axis of the soleil is getting shorter and shorter based on time, but based on this type of AC machine, this type of AC, uh, whatever it's called, it's French name I'm saying. Now, if the family seeks darkness in France, then it's a yes. So, could I afford it without the family? I would have to say no, based on La Bleu, because these places could be asking for this plus weekly. So if I have to seek it here, then I have to do, when I get there, I have to do a pixel study based on, yes, I could do a pixel study and get this amount of money from extraordinaire. I didn't get to N yet. So it would say, okay, let's get there, and realize that it decided that I probably will do so because I don't want to be in the garbage. So it would seek it. So when I get to this now, first weekly and looping. So the looping with this the looping would say yes. Would say yes to my studies, yes to going home because it's not a safe place to be in America. If she's still here, she has children and is always on an uprise, even in Guyana. Most of the time, she's in Guyana and is on an uprise, always finding a secret place and only gets out for yum. Okay? And that they would say, well, can we see her here? No, based on this L that I'm getting to. This L based on this type of the L, did we not do the L? This, the A would be that one. So the L would be, the L is actually this part, this. So this would, you would get it from a tuku. Take tuku. 2K 2K study. Now, now where would I have done this 2K study? It's not in the yes zone. I did it in the 300 weekly zone, and this I could have done in Ibiza. And if I did it in this zone here, then I do have to fly here. You guys are suspecting for a secret place, yum, and not hidden out. So when I was denied on the Airbnb, but I did get Airbnb in another place, you suspect. So a lot of times when it finalizes there, then those places do not attempt to keep her very long, but it would say that it seeks it there, they suspect. So this would be 2K. If I get that in that 3D format, then that's where that check is. Check is in this type, this L here. So when it's 2K studies, then I will get air B and B at that positive rate, and then I will get more Tuku studies. And more Tuku studies would be, just say, oh, it will be this one here, and it relates to just one here. But somebody went forward. This copyright is seeking to see who did it based on this, which is telling them that it's not part of the country. When you stop at, if you're starting life here, you have to stop here because of mental issues. You cannot enter into these type of studies based on the girl did it. You're getting her in, for example, if you're getting her from this country of origin, then how did they give away their secret? They got her as an N. An N would be extraordinaire. When she steps in, they're lying this way to steal the money of the child and give it over to governments. Governments are not supplying roads properly. They're not supplying, giving. She has, in this, she has a dam. and the dam is what's supposed to pay her her billion. And they probably spent the money on TV, and there's no TV. So it would have to deal with them as criminals. Now, when this extraordinaire has an N, it has 3D in there, it has a dam in there, and it has this part in there, and these two leave it for two coup in these type of studies. Now that kind of country can be sick, but I have meetings, not I have to deal with the N. Now the E would be when I get to the E, it deals with what, and the family would know that the what seeks. If you seeked in Greece, no wonder the people are a little disgusted. Now this is a family that lives there that is probably an interdiction to be on that territory, and there's a family in the U.S. and when it's here and they refuse to move, then we have a what, and the what wants to wait for billions of kids to let mama die naturally, and I cannot. My biological had to have set it up that way, and man cannot get the code for dismantling it. So it would say that this would say, when you seek to arrest her, you would be snared, and then you would face billions more. You were in billions and billions in debt because of that arrestation, and you're seeing what's happening in Washington D.C. Now if you're seeking to connect with mom, it's Vumio, because her biological did not birth her to give these to anybody. It's just for his dynasty, and seek only this country here. But when you have another passport, you're allowed there also for this type of B study, which is time. So this is what would be studied in this country for you guys, and this is what I studied. Now this is part of it, yes. And this would be, now this is what the demonstrations are, but I don't see you guys, so the demonstrations. So this would be for me in Greece or Paris. So when I have it in Greece or Paris, what it does, it just continues where I'm doing based on, I have it in N, and you guys would have it in these types of things here, which it's explained there precisely. This is just the overall. Now when I have this here, this is a lot of information, so it sticks here, not it sticks. You guys have one of these, and it sticks here, so man cannot access those things. It's called criminals, and that's what the biological is set up. A lot of the things that I did before explains when the N is full force, I cannot be disturbed. I have to have a mansion type of home, and it deals with the things of this. The N would have it this way in terms of this part of the E would be here, and when it's here, it seeks it only in Greece, not. It says because of the secret place, because of the code, they cannot allow the grandma to be punishing anymore, constantly cannot, and would not stop trying to get men to want to have sexual pleasures with her. Now it would says he cannot allow his grands to be leaving her. So if he sets it up this way, can you seek justice? Then these will be revoked from man. It's being revoked from them, and then they seek it Guyana. Guyana gives away the extraordinary to Phoebe completely, and then she shares it this way for you guys, because you can quickly get lost if you seek those things. It would say when you have a person of this nature, you would quickly try to extinct her. At 5 years old, the possibility was giving. This is why these cannot be touched. And the grandma would say to her, Pinky, she called me à l'époque, which means study. are you dying? And then she would not answer, so she hovered over her and then recognized she received her yes to no, meaning that her life will be extraordinary. She would have children but couldn't figure out her life much. Set it up, people know things were set up. No, this type of situation is not to be known. I'm just talking about explain. Now, once the what is there, I have a daughter and I love being with her so badly that people thinks that it's her favorite daughter. The problem is it's her only daughter who she loves, and her only son would even have this part of her based on loopings, based on yes, and based on pinky. This is why you're seeking man pinky. So it would seek this to find that out. And when she gets this, even this is destructive, so cannot get those things. The dam would have it this way and extraordinary OC, and then this is ourselves based on this biological. So it would say that I have to be with my mom, and the answer is yes, but I have to be here. You suspect if people are seeking that idiocy, then mama is a little. Why doesn't she believe in God? He's a very deceiving God. So it would say that it seeks this, not necessarily, it could be seeking this here based on this here. This is what it's seeking and has to get there. And when I have to get this, then I have to call. I have to call and make an appointment. Now, if I did a quick call, it was to see where America is at. When I get those, then I could have proceeded this way. So it would say that this is a nasty plan. What we going to do with your dad? And it would say, what did they do with my dad? So it would say they eliminated my dad for these type of studies where I have to go back and do so perhaps. So it would says this man is a very powerful man. This powerful and couldn't be eliminated. So this is what the Ane would know and the Dusiam would know it a little less because of things of I don't know mom's hiding. And mom's hiding says, does she hear too much? She hears things of moving not. She only hears things of keep her to sodomize her. And these are therapies that I have to seek at the top to blast. The N, no. So it would say that it seeks tops now, they would say. It would seek a special top for tops level also. Now, if I have a secret top that I purchased, then I made these. Now, it would say these are the angry moments that my deuxième could experience, as well as the Ane, but was able to see mom. So if his sister decides that I cannot give this, you cannot stop. That father will have to face these type of people one day. He suspect of why this is not but the career. Why is this not? Because they would know of this part, so you will be dealt with apart from that part. But it would say top would be something that seeks a building, but my building says a secret place. You guys have become hungry belly. Mom cannot get from here to here without you seeking something of her. But it would say to those things based on this. And when we deal with the N, you would take it to what you call a stairs. Let me try to make some a little bit of thing here. A stairs this way. So these stairs it would take it to a N. Now, N means when you're in this extraordinary based on Adam, right there, you would, if there was a tree, then the tree was fruitless or seedless. And once it is, it will not bear. So that would say, when there was that part says it was a little as this. It only looks so. So this is insignificant. So it this certain people. Could they become this victim? But we're only into the hands of the person who slayed that dad and nobody else. You had a job. Yes, no, you were vindictive. So keep going. Now, once we have those things, then it's just the stairs that is important, and no tree. If it was her, this is why the child do not hear the side of the blah blah, which is called, I call it an Odalah. So the family finally get stairs of blah and not Odalah. So what do you hear? It's a yes and not a blah. So the daughter would hear a blah, and the blah would be this. So this a lot of times doesn't punch for those foolishness of life. It always seeks this type of situation and use it with the child. And if there is a boot, it gets accomplished with this or these. Why? Because the life of the child seems silly. Others now, mine could possibly not be financial until the end of my life. I don't know what is the end for my father. The father could say, I have a foundation here for my child, this foundation here, and this will get her to know a lot of times when this has been disclosed with her N. Her types of N is speaking of the moon and how we're going to deal with her because she's evil now. How we're going to deal with the aspect of the blah. She has to go to Saturn and stay there, and how they're going to diss her. The moon evil will be kind of something of this is this here would deal with her, and it will deal with her away from anything of the child. So she could be somebody that is a bit and not dollars, meaning that she has to be wiped out this way, and the moon has to be done because of this here, and we cannot say what she's going to become just this way. And who are we going to eventually deal with? We're going to deal with this type of top here, and this top will be something of a M. A M would say extraordinaire and has to display. So when she has to display, she has to be able to access this foundation. And a lot of times the foundation only seeks it when this N is at its extra stage. So once it's at its extra stage, these are being placed there immediately. Americans are always liars and thieves. So you have to be able to say, we want to be able to speak to the child, and it's a no. We want to be able to have intercourse with the child, and it's a no. We want to be able to say yes for the child, and it's a no. You guys have damned your countries. In other words, were they waiting for mom 55, 66 years, forgetting? Waiting this part of her, yes. But waiting cannot. They always wait for cannot, not, cannot, not is what they want. It's a no. And this would be the foundation of mom, the not. Now, when somebody abused it, it becomes a 3D now. So the 3D, she does it as games. Now, if she's preparing those things, the extraordinary, yes, she does. Now, that last one would say it has this in it, not. It has but. It has yes, but it has it this way. It would say it just showers the family. So who would set this up would be something of this nature. So this nature would be a dam for mom in, and would use that money as a no to everybody else. So it would say the dam stays there. Now, if they decide not to entertain the dam, then this is removed from them. So they suspect when they did it this way, they're seeking to kill people in Baltica. So it cannot be killing people. Those people may have to seek help quickly because these things are being exposed. So, for example, 2K could be jeering the dam they're suspecting. 2K would be that country there. So, this is why I have to get there quickly. If I went there 3 times, then I'm okay. It means I made myself known. When it comes into anything that it's what, then it take care of that type of talk. So it would tell that this seeks quickly, it's a no. The biologicals, the man's not will be taking care of it. You whites, blacks, you're greedy. You give zero to the family, knowing of who we are. You are the most hungry belly people, those Guyanese would say. Now it would say their evil stems from this type of dam, and you have to be able to know that you're going to have to X out your stairs. There's a stairs you have based on this here with this type of studies. So this type of thing, this type of this type of things. So when we get here, then mom could be exactly how she is, but it will be very this way. So this is what my daughter would know. So once she knows that, then she will be this way. She gets a little hyper because you guys are trying to speak for her, which is not true based on this. You suspect until it's based on this part. You're suspecting for America low life ways. Everything has to be there. Actually, their learning would come from Australia, a country that is very deep, a country that is very savvy and seeking low lives. So they would seek it for the child, and the child has an accent. Now, why? It's a no for everything. If you know you have done her wrong, you need to leave her alone. She exige those things. Is it perhaps, but going back becomes, do I need to sleep? You understand why she was a sleeper before. When she sleeps, she's at peace. I'm not getting the peace. I'm not able to get to those things based on this part of us. So those things will be yes to this aspect, not. So once it's not, then it will be. And it would say, I will even get to this mademoiselle for her ways. Now, once we get to this dam, then it will seek to get this, and this is where they come low. The cause gets very low and damages them. Has to obey this type of things, has to obey. Now if this is the last to obey, then we're not getting there because of this type of display. It's not in America. The family knows. So I'll get to that a little bit of to why it's a no in America, and put a little more ginger on them so that they could get to Australia without the child. So who would be there? The famous Ellen G. White. They don't want to get into that kind of studies. This is why this type of grandma was very strict to a point of mediocre strictness. So I don't think that's something to be jealous about. Why she didn't have her biological dad this way with her. Now he could have said that perhaps it did, and nobody knows that he could have chosen this and says she's not dead until she's dead, because it says that she goes in different directions and it's not good. So she's like a hound dog on her kids for those things. How? Because of God. That's all. Now, when it comes to that part, if I get into a little unrelaxed mode, then I guess that wraps it up for today. And we'll probably get that never. Or I would just play just this play and leave it for to see how the obedience. Now, they can seek asylums. With Ellen G. White, I don't know if that's the asylum. I visited the Ellen G. White's estate, and the dude seemed to say there's an asylum there and throughout the coast. If it scares me, it scares me this way, based on these type of thingies that they were probably effing with for creating asylums this way. So if they get caught, well, if when it does this, then that would be display, and you say display of, and you put it this way, and you would say display of. Can you say that this way and get this plus this and then this? Yes. And do I add this there? Yes. Now for the petite, these this type of but cannot be deranged, and not seeing her makes his heart a little chopping this way for that biological, and we'll talk about that aspect. So with the pictures and all, so if they're seeking for this type of display for that, it's a no. This part here has to get rid of sun, not the sun this way, the sun this way. So meaning that this part will take care of that sun here. And moon, even the star, I know of Rose, I call it Rose, I call it Peanuts. That's my daughter telling me about peanuts. She said it's very deep peanut this way, and peanut could be a killer of the kids of Phoebe's daughter. And I would say be scared of this, my daughter, based on peanut. And I don't want to know about anybody. If she destroyed them all, then it means Rose is gone. Just the mirror, which is that of us, which demands this type of explain. So I'll leave that to that, and I think this part goes to the garbage. It was very cold in Georgia, in those regions. And then get this out today to see how we respond. I kind of follow the instruction based on how this part behaves. And once I know how this part behaves, then I know how this is with this one. Oh, see, this one here would be dealt with this aspect until it's dealt with this only of this type of country. So when it does it this way, you have to be able to keep this away from this grandmother, and when it has to be kept, she will be charged for it. Why? Because you're sticking just there and creating havocs, and the havocs is derangeant, so it has to be done this way. So you will be dealt with, this will be dealt with this way, and this this also, this here will be dealt with, so that this could be focused on is it a who are you? No, it's what have you stemmed with these Negroes. They have to lose their minds, and that's what the crushing here was about. If you don't like it, certain who have come into our family, then you are advised to leave. The biological will say he cannot entertain that at his death. Poof! And that's it. Now, if it calls for that part, then he will eventually show you what will happen. If you decide, then of says, what are you married for? Are you married for of, or are you married for something that is a contraire? So this derange says no to seeing the kid, but it means that any going there had to be done there, but I couldn't after. Why? Because I sense Peanut's problems. So Peanut cannot be seeking to talk to anybody, and Peanut would be saying things mean, and I don't get to hear those things. So we cannot be fighting. And if it was Sheila, as a mom, I will have to incarcerate her on the demands of that biological. So she would seek if she is with the moon, the star, and it waits for you in all its glory.